Hi friends. So if you are preparing for AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate exam, then this video will help you to prepare well. What we are going to do, it's a mock test or a practice test, which is in the format of the real test which you're going to give, and it will give you a very good preparation because I am going to take you with the study material, just like the real exam, and I'll also explain the answers. So before we begin this test, please like my channel and subscribe it and leave the comments. So let's begin. My name is Prem Asim Jain. I am a certified solution architect and I am presenting you with this mock exam. So this will have 65 questions and we have 2 hours and 10 minutes to solve in the real exam. This practice exam is also the same. So the question number one is, a client is hosting their company website on a cluster of web servers that are behind a public facing load balancer. The client also uses Amazon Route 3 to manage their public DSN. How should the client configure the DSN zone apex record to point to the load balancer? Create an A record alias to the load balancer DS name. So what is the Apex record? For example, I have premasim.me. That is my Apex zone. Otherwise, if I'll say yoga.premasim.me, that is a subdomain which diverts to my yoga website. So the zone Apex record is supposed to get redirected when in Route 3. So you can create a alias which will point it to the DNS name record of the load balancer. Now, load balancer usually does not, some of them does not have the IP address. So you would have to use DNS so that tomorrow if load balancer fails based on DNS name, it's easy to get the replaced or the new DNS like the load balancer which replaces it. Question 2, a company has running m5ad.large EC2 instance. So there is a declaration and a type. So it is saying m5ad instance with the default attached 75 GB SSD instance stored backed up volume. You shut it down and then start the instance. You notice that the data which you have saved earlier on the attached volume is no longer available. What might be the cause? The volume of the instance was not big enough. The instance was hit by virus. The EC2 instance was using EBS volume. The EC2 instance was using instance volume. So they already said that it is using instance store volume. So this one is the correct answer, which are ephemeral. What is ephemeral? Which means it only live for the life of the instance. It's a temporary thing. An investment bank has a distributed batch processing application which is hosted in an ASG of Spot EC2 instances with an SQS. You configure your components to use client-side buffering so that the call made from the client will be buffered first and then sent to the batch request to then sent as batch request to SQS. What is the period of time during which SQS queue prevents other consuming components from receiving receiving and processing a message? So they are asking the time during which SQS queue prevents the other consuming components from receiving and processing the message. So I would say visibility timeout. What does that mean is the message is not visible if the message has been taken up by one of the component and then other components cannot read it. It becomes invisible. So other consuming components cannot consume it. A company has several microservices that send message to an Amazon SQS and a backend application that pull the queue to process the message. That pull the queue. The company also has a SLA, service level agreement, which defines the acceptable amount of time that can elapse from the point when the messages are received until a response is sent. The backend operations are IO intensive as the number of messages is constantly growing, causing the company to miss the SLA. The solution architect must implement a new architecture that improves the application's processing time and load management. Which of the following is most effective solution that can satisfy the requirement? So the requirement is company is missing the SLA, which is the acceptable time to receive the message. Create an AMI of the backend application EC2. Use the image to set up an auto scaling group and configure a target tracking policy based on approximate age of the oldest message matrix. I think this is the correct one. So what will happen is if message is getting older and older, which means it is not getting any traction or processing, that is where you will scale out and add more resources. So auto scaling group is good. Both of these are talking about auto scaling group, but this one is telling based on the approximate age of the oldest message because you are using SQS. So this is more appropriate than the CPU utilization. A financial company wants to store their data in S3, but at the same time, they want to store their frequently accessed data locally on their on premise server. That is due to the fact that they do not have the option to extend their on premise storage, which is why they are looking for a durable and scalable storage service to use in AWS. What's the best solution? The best solution is Amazon Storage Gateway Cached Volume. How it works is the storage gateway caches the most frequently data on premise and keep a redundant copy in the S3 for the data. A web application hosted in a ASG of EC2. ASG is auto scaling group. For to read faster, I'll be replacing auto scaling group is ASG in upcoming questions. So a web application hosted in an ASG of EC2 instances in AWS. The application receives a burst of traffic every morning, and a lot of users are complaining about request timeouts. The EC2 instance takes 1 minute to boot up before it can respond to user request. The cloud architecture must be redesigned to better respond to the changing traffic of the application. How should the solution architect redesign the architecture? So a web application, there is a burst, and when the burst comes, a lot of user complain about request timeout. So what we should do here is we should have a warm up time condition. So create a step scaling. What step scaling does is uh, as soon as a load increases based on the step, it would increase more servers. And when you have warm up, which means that the instance does not, as soon as it gets started, it does not accept the request. There is a warm up time after which it becomes active or it start taking up the request from the load balancer. A company has an on-demand EC2 instance with an attached EBS volume. There is a scheduled job that creates a snapshot of EBS volume every midnight at 12 a.m. When the instance is not used one night, there has been a production incident where you need to perform a change on both the instance on the EBS volume at the same time when the snapshot is currently taking place. Which of the following scenario is true when it comes to usage of EBS volume while snapshot is in progress? The EBS volume can be used while the snapshot is in progress. False. The EBS volume can be used in read-only mode while the snapshot is in progress. The EBS volume cannot be used until the snapshot completes. The EBS volume cannot be detached or attached to an EC2 instance until the snapshot completes. Fourth is the correct answer. A web application is deployed in an on-demand EC2. There is an issue with the application which requires you to connect it via a SSH connection. Which of the following is needed in order to access the EC2 instance from the internet? A route entry to the internet gateway in the route table. Yeah, this there could be an issue with that. An internet gateway attached to the VPC. Maybe if it is not attached, this could be a problem. A public address, IP address attached to the EC2. These are the three answers. An online shopping platform is hosted on an ASG of EC2 with a default ASG termination policy and no instance protection configured. The system is deployed across three availability zones in US West region with an application load balancer in front to provide high availability and fault tolerance for the shopping platform. The US 1A, 1B, 1C availability zone have 10, 8, and 7 running instances respectively. Due to the low number of incoming traffic, the scale in operation has been triggered. Which of the following will the auto scaling group do to determine which instance to terminate first? So they are saying it has the default termination policy. Choose the availability zone with the least number of instances. We have to select 3. Select the instance that is closest to next billing hour. Select the instance with the oldest launch configuration. Choose the availability zone with the most number of instances, which is 1A. Select the instance with the most recent launch config. Select the instance that is farthest from the billing hour. A solution architect is setting up configuration management in an existing cloud architecture. The architect needs to deploy and manage the EC2 instance, including the other AWS resource using Chef and Puppet. Which of the following is most suitable service to use in this scenario? So when you have to use Chef and Puppet, Opworks is your best choice. Elastic Beanstalk is for the Navy, like very new people who don't know how to do infrastructure setting in AWS. They could use this template. Cloud Formation is infrastructure as a code, JSON or YAML with predefined format. And code deploy is like CI/CD. So ops work, which provides you the chef and puppet to do the configuration management of the infrastructure configuration. An application is hosted in an EC2 instance and on-demand EC2 instance and is using Amazon SDK to communicate to other AWS resources such as S3, DynamoDB, and many others. As part of the incoming IT audit, you need to ensure that all API calls to your AWS resources are logged and duly stored. What is the most suitable service to meet the requirement? That would be CloudTrail. So cloud AWS X-ray is for Lambda or serverless functions debugging. CloudWatch is for monitoring. You get the CloudWatch events or the event bus, which will show you the dials or different metrics. API gateway is mainly a API service, the reverse proxy. And CloudTrail is something which would log each and every request, who the user is, when he did what on what resources. A company has an infrastructure that allows EC2 instance from a private subnet to fetch objects from S3 via NAT instance. The company's solution architect was introduced to lower down the cost incurred by the current situation. Solution: how should a solution architect redesign the architecture in the most cost-effective manner? Replace NAT instance with NAT gateway. Remove NAT instance and create S3 gateway. Remove NAT instance and create S3 interface endpoint. Use a smaller instance type for the NAT instance. So first thing, they should remove the NAT instance and create the S3 gateway or S3 interface, one among these two. So it would be S3 gateway endpoint to access S3 objects. Hmm. A leading e-commerce company is in need of a storage solution that can be simultaneously accessed by thousands of servers in multiple availability zones. The servers are hosted in EC2 instances that use a hierarchical directory structure via the NFS v4 protocol. The service should be able to handle the rapidly changing data at scale while still maintaining high performance. It should also be highly durable and highly available whenever the server will pull data from it with little need for management. As a solution architect, which of the following is most cost effective choice that you should use to meet the above requirement? So basic need is that you have a solution, storage solution, which is accessed by 1000 Linux server in multiple availability zone. The servers are hosted in EC2 and use a hierarchical directory structure via network file service v4 protocol. So the obvious choice would be EFS is Elastic File Service is EFS. EBS would be better if you have to use just with one instance at a time. S3 is object storage. not the hierarchical data or directory storage, and when the object is not rapidly changing. And storage gateway would be used from on premises to the AWS cloud. A top investment bank is in the process of building a new forex trading platform. To ensure high availability and scalability, you designed the trading platform to use an elastic load balancer in front of an auto scaling group of on demand EC2 instances across multiple availability zones. For its database tier, you choose to use a single Amazon Aurora instance to take advantage of its distributed, fault tolerant, and self healing storage system. In the event of system failure on the primary database instance, what happens to the Amazon Aurora during the failover? Amazon Aurora flips the canonical name of your DB name to point at the healthy replica, which in turn is promoted to become the new primary. So this would have been true if there are replicas, but seems like there is only one instance, single Aurora instance. That is what is given. Aurora will attempt to create a new DB instance in the same availability zone as the original instance and is done on the best effort basis. A solution architect is migrating several Windows-based applications to AWS that require a scalable file system storage for HPC high performance computing. The storage service must have full support for the SMB protocol and Windows NTFS Active Directory Integration and Distributed File System. Which of the following is the most suitable storage service that the architect should use to fulfill this scenario? So FSX for Lusher, or Windows file, because it says Windows based and FSX means it's Windows based. But they also need the distributed file system. So it could be FSX for Lusher. I'll mark it for review. At the end, we'll see. A company has a U80 and production EC2 instance running on AWS. They want to ensure that the employee who are responsible for the UT instance does not have the access to work on the production instance to minimize security risks. Which of the following would be the best way to achieve this? Provide permission to user via Resource Access Manager. Launch the UAT in production instance in different availability zone. Launch UAT in production instance in separate VPC connected by VPC peering. Define the tag for UAT in production server and add a condition to IAM policy which allows access to specific tags. This is more appropriate solution. That way, if you move the infrastructure around based on the tag, the access will still be given in a very dynamic way. You don't need to change much. An application is hosted on an EC2 instance with multiple EBS volumes attached and uses Amazon Neptune as its database. Now, Amazon Neptune is a object database. I should say it is just like tree. Uh, Object database. An application is hosted on EC2 instance with multiple EBS volume attached and uses Neptune. To improve data security, you encrypted all of the EBS volumes attached to the instance to protect the confidential data stored in the volumes. Which of the following statements are true about encrypted EBS stored volume? All data moving between the volume and the instance are encrypted. The volume created from encrypted snapshot is not encrypted. Snapshots are automatically encrypted. Only the data in the volume is encrypted and not all the data moving between the volume and the instance. Snapshots are not automatically encrypted. You have to pick if you want to encrypt it or do not want to encrypt it. A data analytics startup is collecting clickstream data and stores them in S3 bucket. You need to launch AWS Lambda function to trigger the ETL job to run as soon as new data becomes available in S3. Which of the following service can use as an extract transform load service in this scenario? So Redshift is analytics service. Step functions are for if you want to do serverless Lambda functions and you want to connect them. So orchestration can happen with step functions. S3 select is the query tool which help you to query CVS or CSV or any data inside stored in S3. So AWS Glue is the correct answer, which is the solution for ETL solution in AWS. A company plans to launch a new website which is expected to be visited by millions of people around the world. The solution architect choose to deploy the website in AWS to take advantage of its extensive range of cloud services and global infrastructure. The solution architect choose to deploy the website in AWS to take advantage of its extensive range of cloud services and global infrastructure. Aside from AWS region and availability zones, which of the following is part of AWS global infrastructure that is used for content distribution? Aside from AWS region and availability zone, which of the following is part of the AWS global infrastructure that is used for content distribution? Edge locations. A solution architect needs to ensure that all the AWS resources in Amazon VPC don't go beyond their respective service limits. The architect should use the architect should prepare a system that provides real-time guidance in provisioning resources that adhere to the AWS best practice. Which of the service is most appropriate to satisfy the task? So they are asking that AWS resources in VPC does not go beyond their respective service limit. The architect should prepare a system that provides real-time guidance in provisioning resources and best practices. So there are 5 pillars of the trusted advisory, which depends on the resilience, operational excellence, failover, durability, and cost efficiency. A company is planning to launch a HPC cluster in AWS that does computational fluid dynamics, which is CFD simulations. The solution should scale out their simultaneous jobs to experiment with more tunable parameter for faster and more accurate results. The cluster is composed of Windows Server hosted on T3A.medium EC2 instance. As a solution architect, you should ensure that the architecture provides higher bandwidth, higher packet per second performance, and consistently lower inter instance latencies. Which of the most suitable and cost effective solution that architect should implement to achieve the above requirement? Enable enhanced networking with elastic fiber on Windows Server EC2 instance. Use AWS Parallel Cluster to deploy and manage the HPC cluster. I will mark it for review. We'll see it at the end. A company has recently adopted a hybrid cloud architecture and is planning to migrate a database hosted on premises to AWS. The database currently has over 50 TB of consumer data, handles highly transactional OLTP workload, and is expected to grow. The solutions architect should ensure that the database is ACID compliant ACID. A is for atomicity, D is for durability, C is for consistency, and I is for integrity. Compliant and can handle complex queries of the application. Which type of database service should the architect use? So if they need OLTP, they have two options. They need ACID compliant as well. Aurora would be a good choice. An application is hosted in ASG of EC2 instances. To improve the monitoring process, you have to configure the current capacity to increase or decrease based on a set of scaling adjustments. This should be done by specifying the scaling metrics and threshold values for the CloudWatch alarm that triggers the scaling process. Which of the following is most suitable type of scaling policy that you should use? So all these scaling, strap scaling will give you the if else kind of loop. Based on the usage, you could do strap scaling. Simple scaling is it goes one after another. If spike goes all of a sudden 99%, still it would add or remove one unit at a time. Scheduled scaling is it is based on the time, which is the most inappropriate answer to be given. Target tracking scaling is you will track the target, and based on the target you will trigger the scaling. So between first and fourth, there should be a correct answer. I'll still go with target tracking scaling because you're trying to target a specific value. A web application is hosted on an EC2 instance that processes sensitive financial information which is launched in a private subnet. All of the data are stored in an Amazon S3 bucket. The financial information is accessed by users over the internet. A web application is hosted on EC2 instance that processes sensitive financial information which is launched in a private subnet. All the data are stored in an Amazon S3 bucket. The financial information is accessed by user over the internet. The security team of the company is concerned that the internet connectivity to S3 is a security risk. In this scenario, what will you do to resolve the security vulnerability? So in nutshell, they do not want that S3 should be open to public. What it should do is it should be accessed probably only by S3 instance. Change the web architecture to access the financial data. So between second and third, there should be a correct answer. I would still go with second one and we'll mark it for review. A company has a web-based ticketing service that utilizes SQS and a fleet of EC2 instances. The EC2 instances that consume messages from SQS queue are configured to poll the queue as often as possible to keep end-to-end throughput as high as possible. The solutions architect noticed that pulling the queue in tight loops is using unnecessary CPU cycles, resulting in increased operational costs due to empty responses. In this scenario, what should the solutions architect do to make the system more cost effective? So they should use long polling by setting the receive message wait time seconds to 0, greater than 0. A company is using AWS IAM to manage access to AWS services. The solutions architect of the company created the following IAM policy for AWS Lambda. Which of the following options are allowed by this policy? So this policy has a statement which says allow. So you can allow Lambda function. You so whosoever this policy is allowed can create Lambda function and delete the Lambda function, and that too on all region, all resources. At the same time, it denies the action which is create, delete, invoke, and tag resource on all the resource. But it has a condition for specific IP address. When the source IP is this particular IP, then you will deny this, otherwise not. Create an AWS using so it says delete an AWS Lambda function from any network. You can delete this from any network, but you cannot do deletion creation from this specific network. A leading media company has recently adopted a hybrid cloud architecture which requires them to migrate their application servers and database in AWS. One of their applications requires a heterogeneous database migration in which you need to transform your on-premises Oracle database to PostgreSQL in AWS. This entails a schema and code transformation before the proper data migration starts. Which of the following option is the most suitable approach to migrate the database in AWS? So best answer is first use the AWS schema conversion tool to convert the source schema and application code to match that of the target database, and then use AWS data migration service to migrate data from source database to target database. A solutions architect joined a large tech company with an existing Amazon VPC. When reviewing the Amazon auto scaling events, the architect noticed that their web application is scaling up and down multiple times within the hour. What design change should the architect make to optimize the cost while preserving elasticity? Change the cooldown period of the auto-scaling group and set the CloudWatch matrix to a higher threshold. What does this mean? The cooldown is as soon as some value goes down, it should not trigger it immediately. Rather, it would just wait. That is what is called as cooldown before doing scale in or scale out action. The startup company that you are working for has a batch job application that is currently hosted on an EC2 instance. It is set to process message from a queue created in SQS with default settings. You configured the application to process a message once a week. After 2 weeks, you notice that all the messages are being processed by the application. What's the issue? Amazon SQS has automatically deleted the message that has been in the queue for more than the maximum message retention, and the default is 14 days or 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, some of the messages which were unprocessed were deleted. An on-demand EC2 instance is launched into a VPC subnet with the network ACL configured to allow all inbound traffic and deny all outbound traffic. The instance's security group has an inbound rule to allow SSH from any IP address and does not have any outbound rules. In this scenario, what are the changes needed to allow SSH connection to the instance? So network ACL has to allow the outbound, because right now it is denying all the outbound traffic. A company has a web application hosted on a fleet of EC2 instances located in two availability zones that are all placed behind an application load balancer. As a solutions architect, you have to add health check and configure to ensure your application is highly available. What check will you implement? So it could be any of these two, either TCP or HTTP. But since you have application load balancer, you might go with HTTP or HTTPS health check. So we are almost half done. Out of 65, we are 32. So we have to do 33 more questions. And we have been given 2 hours 10 minutes, but we have consumed about 50 minutes. So we still have 80 minutes. So we are doing good on time. A startup needs to use a shared file system for its .NET web application running on an Amazon EC2 Windows instance. The file system must provide a high level of throughput and IOPS that can also be integrated with Microsoft Active Directory, which is the most suitable service that you should use to achieve this requirement. It could be between second and fourth option, but I would go with fourth option. A company plans to design a highly available architecture. They have two target groups with three EC2 instances each, which are added to an application load balancer. In the security group of EC2 instance, you have verified that port 84 HTTP is allowed. However, the instances are still showing out of service from the load balancer. What could be wrong? The health check defined is no, the health check is not properly defined. An EC2 and e-commerce application is using a fan-out messaging pattern for its order management system. For every order, it sends an Amazon SNS message to an SNS topic, and the message is replicated and pushed to multiple SQS queues for parallel asynchronous processing. A Spot EC2 instance retrieves the message from the SQS and processes the message. There was an incident that while an EC2 instance is currently processing a message, the instance was abruptly terminated and the processing was not completed in time. In this scenario, what happens with the SQS message? The message will be sent to dead letter queue. The message will be deleted and become duplicated. The message will automatically be assigned to the same EC2 instance when it's come back. When the message visibility timeout expires, the message would become available for processing by other EC2 instances. Is the correct answer. A multimedia company needs to deploy web services to an AWS region that they have never used before. The company currently has an IAM role for its EC2 instance that permits the instance to access DynamoDB. They want their EC2 instance in the new region to have the exact same privilege. What should be done? So correct answer is assigning the existing IAM role to the instance in the new region, because roles are global. IAM service is global. An organization created a new CloudFormation template that creates four EC2 instances that are connected to one elastic load balancer. Which section of the template should be configured to get the domain name server hostname of the ELB upon the creation of the AWS stack? outputs. So what will happen is whenever something happens, and then if you need the name or ID, that should come in the output section. A company has an application hosted in Amazon ECS cluster behind an application load balancer. ECS is Elastic Container Service. The solution architect is building a sophisticated web filtering solution that allows or blocks web requests based on the country that the request originates from. However, the solution should still allow specific IP address from that company. Which combination of steps should the architect implement to satisfy this requirement? Select two. So it would be WAF is Web Application Protocol. What it does is it has access control list. So you would allow the specific IP address that would win, and then you would deny from specific countries. So that would be the lower priority. So as soon as the request from specific IP comes, that would be entertained. A company needs to set up cost-effective architecture for a long processing application that has frequently accessed throughput-intensive workload with large sequential I/O operation. The application should be hosted in an already existing on-demand EC2 instance in the VPC. You have to attach a new EBS volume that will be used by the application. Which of the following is most suitable EBS volume type that you should use in this scenario? So you have to take care of cost, and then frequently accessed throughput intensive workload, which is sequential. So whenever cost comes, HDD is better, but you don't want cold HDD because you also need throughput intensive. HDD is cheaper than SSD. A loan processing application is hosted in a single EC2 instance. To improve the scalability of your application, you have to use ASG to add new EC2 instance to handle the surge of incoming requests. Which of the following items should be done in order to add an existing EC2 instance to ASG? A solution architect is working for a fast growing startup that just started operations during the past 3 months. They currently have an on premises Active Directory and 10 computers. To save cost in procuring physical workstation, they decided to deploy virtual desktops for their new employees in a virtual private cloud in AWS. The new cloud infrastructure should leverage the existing security control in AWS but can still communicate with their on premises network. Which set of AWS service will the architect use to meet these requirements? So workspaces is the virtual desktop which they are talking about. Then you have VPN so that it will work with the existing network and the AWS directory services. A solutions architect is working for a multinational telecommunication company. The IT manager wants to consolidate their log stream, including the access, application, and security logs in one single system. Once consolidated, the company will analyze these logs in real time based on heuristics. There will be some time in the future where the company will need to validate heuristics, which require going back to data samples extracted from last 12 months. What is the best approach to meet the requirement? So this will be send all the log events to Kinesis because it is real time. And then afterwards, develop a client process to apply heuristics on the logs. Now CloudTrail would of course get the log, but it is not real time. It sometimes takes 15 minutes. A company has 10 TB of infrequently accessed financial data files that would need to be stored in AWS. These data would be accessed infrequently during the specific weeks when they are retrieved for auditing purpose. The retrieval time is not restricted as long as it does not exceed 24 hours. Which of the following would be a secure, durable, and cost effective way? So best choice is if you need secure, durable, cost effective and infrequent access, you should store it in S3IA, which is infrequent access. A data analytics company keeps a massive volume of data that they store in their on-premise data center. To scale their storage system, they are looking for cloud-backed storage volumes that they can mount using Internet Small Computer System Interface ISCSI devices for their on-premise application server. They have an on-site data analytics application that frequently accesses the latest data subset locally, while the older data are rarely accessed. You are required to minimize the need to scale the on-premise storage infrastructure while still providing their web application with low latency access to the data. You are required to minimize the need to scale the on-premise storage infrastructure while still providing their web application with low latency. I would go with volume storage in cached mode. A company has both on-premise data center as well as AWS cloud infrastructure. They store their graphics, videos, and other multimedia assets primarily on their on-premise storage server and use a S3 standard storage class bucket as a backup. Their data is heavily used for only a week. After that period, it will only be infrequently used by their customers. The solution architect is instructed to save storage cost in AWS yet maintain the ability to fetch a subset of their media asset in a matter of minutes from a surprise annual data audit for a surprise annual data audit which will be conducted on their cloud storage. Which following are valid options that the solution architect should implement. So there are two things. First is you can set the policy. So S3 data will be moved to the cheaper solution, which is standard IA or Glacier. But can this happen in 7 days or it need 30 days? So based on different class, you can transition after particular days. And I think in S3, you can transition to any other class and category with any number of days. There is no restriction. A company troubleshoots the operational issue of their cloud architecture by logging the AWS API call history of all AWS resources. The solution architect must implement a solution to quickly identify the most recent changes made to resource in their environment, including creation, modification, and deletion of AWS resource. One of the requirement is that the generated log file should be encrypted to avoid any security issues. Which of the following is most suitable approach to implement the encryption? Use CloudTrail and configure the destination S3 bucket to use server-side encryption with the AES 128 encryption algorithm. So they are talking about almost same solution, which is allow server-side encryption, SSE. But in first option, they provide AES 128. In this option, they are not doing this and use CloudTrail with its default settings. So if you do this, probably it will encrypt directly. So I think this would be the correct answer. You do not need to configure the destination as S3. A company has an application hosted in AST across multiple availability zones behind the ALB. There are several locations where some instances are automatically terminated after failing the HTTPS health check in the ALB and then purges all the ephemeral logs stored in the instance. A solution architect must implement a solution that collects all of the application and server logs efficiently. She should be able to perform a root cause analysis based on the logs even if the ASG immediately terminates the instance. What is the easiest way for architect to automate the log collection? I would pick the first and mark it for review. A local bank has an in-house application which handles sensitive financial data in a private subnet. After the data is processed by EC2 worker instance, they will be delivered to S3 for ingestion by other services. How should you design this solution so that the data does not pass through the public internet? So for storage, there is a gateway endpoint. So we will pick this option. Now we have 51 minutes and we have 17 questions to answer. A health organization is using a large dedicated EC2 instance with the multiple EBS volumes to host its health records web application. The EBS volumes must be encrypted due to the confidentiality of data that they are handling and also to comply with the HIPAA standard. In EBS encryption, what service does AWS use to secure the volume data at rest? A startup launched a API gateway service. Just a minute. VPC gateway, not API gateway. Yeah. Storage gateway. A startup launched a new API gateway service which uses AWS Lambda as serverless compute service. Which type of protocol will API endpoint be exposed? It would always be HTTPS because first the request would reach to the API gateway. After this, you have the option to use either HTTP or anything else. But till API gateway, it will be HTTPS. Now we have 16 more questions. A news company is planning to use a hardware security module, which is called as Cloud HSM in AWS for secure key storage for their web application. You have launched the Cloud HSM cluster, but after just a few hours, A support staff mistakenly attempt to log in as the administrator 3 times using the invalid password in HSM. This has caused the HSM to be zeroed, which means that the encrypted key on it has been wiped. Unfortunately, you do not have the copy of the key stored anywhere else. How can you obtain the new copy of the keys that have been stored in HSM? The keys are lost permanently if you don't have the copy because AWS don't take any backup or copy of those keys due to security reasons. An organization plans to run an application in a dedicated physical server that doesn't use virtualization. The application data will be stored in a storage solution that uses an NFS protocol. To prevent data loss, you need to use a durable cloud storage service to store a copy of your data. Use AWS Storage Gateway hardware appliance. Use AWS Storage Gateway with a Gateway VM appliance for your for your compute resources. Configure file gateway to store application data and backup data. There are few questions which I'm confused and we have to see if we'll pass because we have to get more than 72% to pass the exam. In a startup company you are working for, you are asked to design a web application that requires a NoSQL database that has no limit on storage size for a given table. The startup is still new in market and has very limited human resource who can take care of the database infrastructure, which is the most suitable service that you can implement that provides a fully managed, scalable, and highly available NoSQL service. A company plans to deploy a Docker-based batch application in AWS. The application will be used to process both mission-critical data as well as non-essential batch jobs. Which of the following is most cost-effective option to use in implementing this architecture? Use ECS container management service to set up on-demand EC2 instances for processing. So this will be the one because non-essential job, if they are interrupted by spot instances, it would save cost. And for mission critical, if you have reserve instances, it would again save cost and it will be reliable as well. A company plans to migrate at MySQL database from an on-premise data center to AWS. The database will be used by legacy batch application that has steady state workload in the morning but has its peak load at night for the end of the day processing. You need to choose an EBS volume that can handle the maximum of 450 GB of data and can also be used as the system boot volume for your EC2 instances. Which of the following is most cost effective storage type to use in this scenario? A company has a web application hosted in their on premise infrastructure. I'll tell you what I was doing. So, for most cost effective, there is HDD. But why we did not pick this Amazon throughput optimized HDD? Because it is also supposed to boot your device. They have written here system boot volume. So booting can only happen from SSD. So in these two options, if you will go with this, it will be expensive. But for general purpose, it should be okay. Because what they are saying is they did not ask for any high throughput. The need is not like that. A company has a web application hosted in their on-premise infrastructure that they want to migrate to AWS. Your manager instructed you to ensure that there is no downtime while the migration process is going on. In order to achieve this, your team decided to divert 50% of the traffic to the new application in AWS and other 50% to the on-premise. Once the migration is over, the application works with no issues. A full diversion to AWS will be implemented. The company's VPC is connected to its on-premise network via AWS Direct Connect connection. Which of the following are possible solutions that can implement to satisfy the above requirement? Use Route 53 with weighted routing policy to divert the traffic between on-premise and AWS hosted application. Divert 50% of the traffic to new application in AWS and 50% to the application hosted in on-premise infrastructure. That is the first. Second is use Route 53 with failover routing policy to divert and proportion the traffic between the on-premise and AWS hosted application. Divert 50% of traffic to new application and 50 to on-premise. Rest all options are not applicable because load balancer does not have weighted target group. It should be done at the level of Route 53. A website is running on an ASG which are abruptly getting interrupted from time to time. To automate the monitoring process, you started to create a simple script which uses the AWS CLI to find the root cause for this issue. Which of the following is most suitable command to use? Describe instances. The top IT consultancy has a VPC with two on-demand EC2 instances with elastic IP address. You were notified that the EC2 instances are currently under SSH brute force attack over internet. The IT security team has identified the IP address where these attacks originate. You have to immediately implement a temporary fix to stop these attacks while the team is setting up AWS WAF Guard Duty and AWS Shield Advanced to permanently fix the security vulnerability. Which of the following provide the quickest way? Block the IP in network ACL. A company deployed a web application that stores static asset in S3. The solution architect expects S3 bucket to immediately receive over 200 put requests and 350 2000 put requests and 3500 get requests per second at peak hour. What should he do to ensure the optimal performance? Do nothing. S3 will do the scaling automatically. A financial analytics application that collects, processes, and analyzes stock data in real time is using Kinesis data stream. The procedures continuously push data to Kinesis data stream while the consumers process the data in real time. The producers continuously push data to Kinesis data stream. In Amazon Kinesis, where can the consumer store their results? So for S3, I'm sure, but I'm not sure about other two options. So I just picked Redshift, but it could be Athena. Now, what is Athena? Amazon Athena is serverless interactive query service, and Glue is ETL service. So I think we are good. We are correct. A company plans to implement a hybrid architecture. They need to create a connection from Amazon Virtual Private Cloud to its on-premise network. Which of the following can be used to create a private connection between VPC and company's on-premise network? Direct Connect. A company needs to use Amazon S3 to store a reproducible financial document. For their quarterly reporting, the files are required to be retrieved after a period of 3 months. There will be some occasions when a surprise audit will be held. This requires access to the archive data that they need to present immediately. What will you do to satisfy this requirement in a cost effective way? So I would go with the intelligent tiering. Why? Because data is important, first thing. Second thing is data is irreproducible and they do not tell about the frequency. Yes, of course, the frequency is less. The social media company that you are working for needs to capture the detailed information of all HTTP requests that went through their public facing application load balancer every 5 minutes. They want to use this data for analyzing traffic patterns and for troubleshooting their web applications in AWS. Which of the following option meet the customer requirement? So there are two things. CloudTrail usually gives data after 15 minutes. What they want is for every 5 minutes they need this data. Needs to capture the detailed information of requests that went through their public facing application load balancer every 5 minutes. They want to use this data for analyzing the traffic pattern. So they can enable the logs on application load balancer, add an Amazon CloudWatch log agent on the application load balancer, enable AWS CloudTrail on their application load balancer, enable access log on their application load balancer. So I would just go with the the CloudTrail. A company needs secure access to RDS for MySQL database that is used by multiple applications. Each IAM user must use a short-lived authentication token to connect to the database. Which of the following is most suitable scenario? Use IAM DB authentication and generate database account using AWS provision AWS authentication plugin, or use AWS SSO to access RDS. So I hope this was helpful and thanks for watching the video. Bye.